have been doing a series called What Faith Looks Like. And we started off kind of giving a definition from Hebrews 11, which is basically says that faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders gave a great testimony. And that's kind of the definition of faith. You know, how does something become something from nothing? And the answer is God is always there. He's in eternity. And so there, in a way, the invisible is very much there. So then the Bible starts giving examples of people who walked in faith and what that looked like. And we talked about Cain and Abel, Enoch, Noah. Last week we talked about Abraham. And then this week we dove into Moses. And there's a lot with Moses. And again, we're basically going through Hebrews 11. And Moses is mentioned about midway through the 11th chapter. And it's interesting because, Moses... And the message today was, faith is receiving, but also faith is trusting and letting go and trusting God. So, when Moses, the story of Moses, how it goes, if you haven't heard it before, is that Pharaoh, who was the king of Egypt, had Hebrews as slaves working for him to build the temple or temples and the kingdom, honestly. And so when the Hebrews started to just multiply and multiply and multiply, and he was really nervous that they could get strong enough to maybe join with one of his enemies from outside of Egypt, and so this was a huge concern for him. And so he came up with this really dumb idea that, well, let's just take all the babies that are 2 years old and under and let's just kill them. And what a terrible, terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah.
And Moses was under 2 years old. And so his mother, by faith, put him in a basket and sent him down this river where she probably knew that Pharaoh's daughter would be. And Pharaoh's daughter saw the baby, made it her own. And what's interesting is that Moses' mother ended up being a handmaiden or a nurse to her own very son. It took a lot of faith to let that baby go like that. I was talking about how we have a newborn in our house, little Aiden. He's our new grandson. I can't imagine having a baby a year old or anywhere under 2 and just putting him in a basket and trusting that he's going to be okay down this river. You know what I'm saying? That took a lot of faith, And then we talked about, Moses, he started to kind of grow up. He grew up as an Egyptian, but he started to realize that he was a Hebrew, one of the chosen people of God. And, he has this kind of this coming out where he's like, okay, listen, I am a Hebrew. And he stands up for his Hebrew brother who is being oppressed or beat up by an Egyptian, and he kills the Egyptian, and hides the body, knowing that if Pharaoh ever found out that he was a dead man. And what's really interesting is that Moses grew up in just an elaborate palace. He had access to all the greatest philosophers. He probably had 2 or 3 assistants that literally walked around with him everywhere he went. I mean, we're in the middle of the desert, and there are gardens, there are lakes and ponds, these little places all over the palace that he lived in. And so, when he did that, he was taking a chance that if he was ever found out, he would probably have to leave all of that. And lo and behold, he sees his Hebrew brothers fighting, and he says, hey, you guys should cut it out. And they're like, well, what are you going to do? Kill us like you killed the Egyptian? And he's like, oh my gosh, the word is out. And that's when Moses left Egypt. He left all of those things of comfort behind because he knew who he was now. And he was a child of God. He was willing to let those things go. His identity wasn't in what he had. His identity was in who he was. And so we just talked about that this morning, that, you might have some things in your life that you're holding on to that you need to let go of and trust God. And that's faith too. And that, this world and the comforts it has isn't all that it's all cracked up to be. And sometimes God asks us, and a lot of times, to give some of that stuff over so that we can follow him in deeper ways, And so that was kind of how the message kind of went this morning.